To take the next step in his career, leaving television and going off to teach or whatever you choose to do in the future. We're taking a look back at the more than 30 or so years he has been here at Newswatch 12, and one of the themes that have gone through a lot of your stories is your military service. And in this particular story, you really went back to where it all began.
Well, that's right. We'd talked earlier about honor flight and some of those things, but this several years before that, I got a chance to go back on a project to Vietnam, and one of the stories that we came back with was I went back to the city Nha Trang, where I had been stationed, to see what had changed over all those years, and this is what we found.
About this time, back in 1969, I was a 22-year-old Army PFC in Nha Trang, Vietnam. Like most South Vietnamese cities, Nha Trang was bustling with American GIs. Our unit was stationed south of town, near the air base. Our radio station was in the Duy Ton Hotel, near the beach. So going back is a chance to see what more than 20 years of communist rule had brought. Perhaps the biggest surprise is that there is almost no sign of the old base, Camp McDermott. It's now a whole new suburb of Nha Trang. What we call the Beach Road is sprouting new hotels. Clearly, government authorities are pushing to restore Nha Trang to its status as a tourist mecca, much as it was before the war. But some residents are concerned that tourists and tourist money may bring new problems.
Why now? Every summer, too many tourists come to Nha Trang, even the Vietnamese and foreigners. Yes, they come to Nha Trang, and Nha Trang is become more and more expensive. Yes. Yes. So, and sometimes the hotel is not enough for the customer, for the tourists.
Times were tough in the first 10 years after the war. There were severe food shortages and days without electric power. But there's little sign of that now. Not even much sign of police or the military. Streets that once flooded in the monsoons are now paved, and most of them are well lit. The bars are gone, and everybody seems to be in business making or selling something. When the communists took control in 1975, many freedoms were lost. We were told that just about every Catholic priest was sent to prison. Local officials confiscated a Catholic seminary building, then gave the church an empty lot in return. Now, this is what the church recently built. The Catholic Church is apparently alive and well, with about 100,000 members in the Con Hoa region. The government regulates who can teach at the seminary and how many students they can take in. It's about half of what they're equipped to handle, but church leaders are patiently waiting for permission to open 2 more churches. And the Nha Trang Cathedral appears to be in better shape now than it was when I was there the first time.
We wait for the permit to open 2 churches, two more churches. But we wait.
Also a Nha Trang landmark is a huge Buddha sitting atop a rocky point along the road to Cam Ranh Bay. It, too, looks like it's been refurbished. And a Buddhist temple at the bottom of the hill attracts a steady stream of worshipers. The old Cham temple north of town is undergoing a major renovation. The foreman on the job says funding is limited, but the government is determined to preserve the ancient landmark, originally built nearly 2,000 years ago. Everywhere you see traffic, but none of the military trucks and jeeps like before. Still, there are a lot of Japanese cars and taxis now. And of course, bicycles and motorbikes just about everywhere. Fishing boats still sail out at sunset to fish the rich waters of the South China Sea, then return in the morning. The blue boats are traditional in Nha Trang, some of the same type of boats that took thousands of refugees to freedom in the late 70s. The Duy Ton Hotel, where we had our radio station, is a tourist hotel again. The Grand Hotel, that was the first Field Force headquarters, is now restored, but it's not open. Still, the most famous attraction is the beach. By sunrise, the beach is crowded with swimmers and others exercising before it gets too hot. We gave it a try again for the first time since 1970. It's very plain that the last 25 years have brought a lot of changes to Nha Trang, as well as most of Vietnam. The changes have come very painfully in many cases, but the future looks very good for at least this part of Vietnam. In Nha Trang, Ron Brown on the Newswatch.
It seems like for many of us, taking that journey would have been very emotional. What was it like for you to travel back those miles?
Well, it was somewhat emotional, but it was very interesting, and it was very revealing also, and I was so happy to see all the improvements that have been made over the years. A lot of the potholed, rutted, unpaved streets had been paved over, streetlights are up, thanks in large part to a lot of Australian, Japanese, and American investment over the years, and the hotels were growing, and so it was great. It's been a number of years now since I've been over there. I'd kind of like to go back again.
Well, you're going to have a lot of time to do whatever you want to do.
We'll talk to Judy about that.
I know you're going to be taking some trips, and you know, Ron is going to retire on May 29th, the end of this month. So if you want to wish him well, you can head to our website, kdrv.com, look under the features category. Not only will you be able to see all the stories we featured this month, there's also a place where you can send Ron a special note with your favorite memories from his time in Southern Oregon.